Iran's supreme leader has disappeared. What is the Ayatollah hiding from? In the heart of the Middle East, a seismic shift is occurring. Iran's supreme leader, once untouchable, now hides in shadows as his empire teeters on the brink. This is the story of power, defiance, and potential revolution. For 35 years, Ali Khamenei ruled Iran with an iron fist, his authority absolute and unquestioned. As supreme leader, he transformed Iran into one of the world's most oppressive regimes, where dissent was crushed and opposition silenced. But now, as tensions with Israel erupt into open warfare, the seemingly invincible leader has vanished from public view, seeking refuge with his family in an undisclosed location. The disappearance of such a prominent figure hasn't gone unnoticed. U.S. President Donald Trump, known for his direct approach, made a startling revelation on social media that sent shockwaves through diplomatic channels. We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He's an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out, kill, at least not for now. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. Diplomatic tensions and military preparations. The situation has reached a critical point, with Trump abruptly canceling his Canadian diplomatic visit to return to Washington for urgent military consultations. His message aboard Air Force One was crystal clear. They should have done the deal. I told them, do the deal. So, I don't know. I'm not too much in the mood to negotiate. These words carry the weight of potential military action, including the possible use of specialized bunker-busting bombs designed to penetrate deeply fortified facilities. Despite intelligence reports indicating Iran isn't actively pursuing nuclear weapons, the political pressure continues to mount. The Pentagon has reportedly increased its regional military presence, while diplomatic channels remain eerily quiet. The battle for Iran's future. While Khamenei remains hidden, his digital presence persists through his official X account, where a recent post garnered nearly 4 million views. We must give a strong response to the terrorist Zionist regime. We will show the Zionists no mercy. This defiant message, laden with aggressive rhetoric, has been interpreted as an endorsement for further escalation. Meanwhile, Reza Pahlavi, the exiled son of Iran's former Shah, has seized this moment to rally opposition forces. His powerful message resonates with many Iranians. Khamenei, like a frightened rat, has gone into hiding underground and has lost control of the situation. The regime's apparatus of repression is falling apart. All it takes now is a nationwide uprising to put an end to this nightmare once and for all. Now is the time to rise, the time to reclaim Iran. Pahlavi's vision for a post-regime Iran offers hope to many, promising stability rather than chaos. His words have ignited a spark of possibility among those who dream of a different future for Iran, one free from the constraints of theological rule and international isolation. The coming days will prove crucial in determining whether this crisis marks the beginning of the end for Khamenei's regime, or if Iran's supreme leader will emerge from hiding to reassert his authority over a nation at the crossroads of history. Digital warfare and political maneuvering. Reza Pahlavi's vision extends beyond mere rhetoric. His detailed 100-day transition plan outlines the framework for a democratic Iran, one where power flows from the people rather than religious authority. This comprehensive roadmap has garnered significant attention both domestically and internationally, offering a concrete alternative to the current regime's oppressive rule. Meanwhile, Israel's leadership has transformed social media into a powerful weapon of war. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu masterfully orchestrates a digital campaign, sharing carefully selected footage of military briefings and successful airstrikes. These posts serve a dual purpose, demonstrating Israel's military prowess while maintaining public support for Operation Rising Lion. However, not all digital diplomacy has proven effective. Defense Minister Yoav Gallant's controversial statement that the residents of Tehran will pay the price and soon sparked immediate international backlash. Critics worldwide condemned the apparent threat against civilians, while political analysts warned that such aggressive rhetoric might inadvertently strengthen the Iranian regime's position by pushing fence-sitting citizens toward supporting their government. Trump's calculated ambiguity. Donald Trump has emerged as a pivotal figure in this international crisis, wielding his Truth Social platform with characteristic unpredictability. His messages oscillate between harsh warnings and peaceful overtures, creating a deliberate atmosphere of uncertainty. "We want stability in the Middle East," he declares, while simultaneously emphasizing America's military might and unwavering support for Israel. His recurring phrase about not taking action, at least not for now, serves as a masterful example of strategic ambiguity, keeping both allies and adversaries guessing about America's next move. This digital chess game has transformed traditional warfare into a multi-dimensional conflict, where tweets can trigger market crashes and social media posts can mobilize millions. The making of a supreme leader. Behind the current crisis lies the fascinating story of Ali Khamenei's rise to power. Born to a modest clerical family in Mashhad, he wasn't destined for supreme leadership. He fought for it. During the tumultuous 1960s, young Khamenei immersed himself in both religious studies and revolutionary politics, becoming a key figure in the growing opposition to the Shah's westernization programs. In Qom, Iran's religious capital, Khamenei didn't just study Islamic theology. He became Ayatollah Khomeini's trusted lieutenant, building underground networks and translating radical Islamic texts. Surprisingly, he was also an avid reader of Western literature, devouring works by Tolstoy, Hugo, and Steinbeck. Yet rather than fostering appreciation for Western culture, these readings reinforced his concept of Westoxification, the belief that Western influence was poisoning Iranian society. Despite multiple arrests by Savak, the Shah's feared secret police, Khamenei remained resolute in his revolutionary path. His determination and ideological conviction would eventually propel him from the streets of Mashhad to the highest office in the Islamic Republic, though few could have predicted the global impact his leadership would have decades later. Revolution and rise to power. The year 1978 marked a turning point in Iranian history, as the streets erupted with revolutionary fervor. Ali Khamenei, then a passionate revolutionary, stood at the forefront of these protests against the Shah's regime. When the monarchy crumbled and Ayatollah Khomeini returned from exile, Khamenei's unwavering loyalty positioned him perfectly for his meteoric rise within the newly formed Islamic Republic. His ascension accelerated dramatically in 1981, when, despite surviving an assassination attempt that left his right arm permanently paralyzed, he secured the presidency. Though initially a ceremonial role, fate had greater plans. Following Khomeini's death in 1989, the ruling elite orchestrated an unprecedented constitutional amendment to bypass Khamenei's insufficient religious credentials, paving his way to supreme leadership. Consolidation of absolute power. Khamenei didn't merely inherit power, he revolutionized it. With calculated precision, he systematically extended his control over every significant institution: intelligence services, judiciary, military, and the wealthy religious foundations. His masterstroke was the elevation of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, transforming them from a military unit into the regime's backbone. Wielding unprecedented influence across military, political, and economic spheres. The 1990s witnessed Khamenei's ruthless consolidation of power. Former allies became enemies, poets he once admired faced persecution, and dissidents abroad mysteriously disappeared. His strategic alliance with Hezbollah, cultivated through the IRGC, became a cornerstone of Iran's regional influence. Even when reformist Mohammad Khatami secured a landslide presidential victory in 1997, Khamenei maintained his iron grip, allowing only superficial reforms while retaining control over crucial state apparatus. The axis of resistance and its unraveling. While publicly denouncing weapons of mass destruction, Khamenei quietly orchestrated a sophisticated network of proxy forces across the Middle East. His axis of resistance stretched from Hezbollah in Lebanon to Hamas in Gaza, from the Houthis in Yemen to various Shiite militias across Syria and Iraq. This strategic web was designed to create a deterrent against potential Israeli aggression. However, this carefully constructed network now lies in tatters. Hamas faces unprecedented military pressure. Hezbollah's leadership has been decimated, and Syria's Assad regime has collapsed. Domestically, Iran suffocates under crushing international sanctions, its economy in freefall. The younger generation, disillusioned and desperate, seeks escape abroad while protests by women, students, and workers face brutal suppression. Despite the mounting chaos, Khamenei maintains his carefully crafted image of austerity, residing in a modest compound on Palestine Street in Tehran with his family. This deliberate contrast to the opulent lifestyles of other officials has somewhat shielded him from public resentment. Yet, at 86, illness and age have caught up with the supreme leader. Behind closed doors, a fierce succession struggle has begun, while public frustration reaches dangerous levels. Now, as Israel launches its boldest strikes yet, targeting not just military installations, but the very foundations of the regime, Khamenei faces the greatest challenge of his 35-year rule. Prime Minister Netanyahu's declaration makes it clear this is no longer about containing Iran's nuclear ambitions. It's about fundamental regime change in Tehran. The end of an era looms, and the world watches as this complex chess game approaches its final moves. Netanyahu's bold gambit and Israel's strategy. In a historic address on Friday evening, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke not just to his military commanders and political allies, but directly to the Iranian people. His message resonated with unprecedented clarity. The time has come for Iranians to reclaim their heritage, to unite under their flag, and to break free from decades of oppression. Israel's strategy is both ambitious and calculated. They're betting on a domino effect, strikes from above triggering widespread strikes below, leading to chaos, then revolt, and ultimately the collapse of the Islamic Republic. This isn't mere wishful thinking. The Iranian people have endured years of economic hardship, with inflation skyrocketing and basic necessities becoming luxuries. Women face brutal persecution, minorities suffer systematic discrimination, and the government has grown increasingly deaf to its citizens' pleas. The power vacuum and its implications. With key figures now eliminated, including the IRGC commander and the Army's chief of staff, the Iranian power structure shows unprecedented vulnerability. Though the Revolutionary Guard launched retaliatory strikes, the damage to the regime's image of invincibility is irreversible. Netanyahu's promise of escalation, more targeted assassinations, more precision strikes, signals a relentless campaign to dismantle Iran's power structure piece by piece. However, this strategy carries enormous risks. The real power in Iran doesn't rest with its visible institutions, but operates through a complex web of military commanders, IRGC elites, and influential clerical networks. These shadow powers don't require a formal coup. They already control the nation's vital arteries. Should the current system collapse, these hardliners might seize complete control, pushing Iran toward an even more radical path. The opposition's dilemma. The prospect of total collapse presents an even more frightening scenario. A power vacuum in a nation of 90 million people, armed with advanced nuclear technology and positioned at the crossroads of the world's most volatile region, could trigger unprecedented regional chaos. The opposition movement, energized by the 2022 Woman Life Freedom protests, remains deeply fragmented. Some advocate for a secular republic, others dream of restoring the monarchy, but they've failed to unite under a single vision or leader. Enter Reza Pahlavi, the crown prince and son of the last Shah. Living in exile, he's become a prominent voice for change, regularly appearing in international media and meeting with Western leaders. His vision of a secular, democratic Iran resonates with many, especially younger generations. He speaks eloquently of human rights, peaceful transition, and stability. Yet transforming social media popularity into genuine revolutionary leadership remains a formidable challenge. Netanyahu's recent declaration marks this as more than just another Middle Eastern conflict. If we eliminate them, it won't escalate the conflict, it will end it, he proclaimed, positioning these strikes as the beginning of the end for a regime that has dominated Middle Eastern politics for half a century. These aren't mere diplomatic platitudes, they're a declaration of intent to reshape the entire regional order. As missiles continue to fall and tensions escalate, the world watches with bated breath. The outcome of this high-stakes gamble will determine not just Iran's future, but the destiny of the entire Middle East. The question remains, will this crisis lead to meaningful change or plunge the region into deeper chaos? Israel's strategic offensive and Iran's vulnerability. Netanyahu's recent statements have shattered diplomatic niceties, revealing Israel's true objective, not merely dismantling Iran's nuclear capabilities, but orchestrating the complete collapse of Tehran's Islamic power structure. In a series of calculated public appearances, he methodically outlined Iran's transgressions, from attacks on Saudi oil facilities to regional destabilization stretching from Yemen to Syria. His message resonates with clarity. Iran wages an endless war that threatens global nuclear stability. We are simply defending ourselves. We will not let evil win, Netanyahu declared, his words carrying the weight of historical precedent. When pressed about potential plans to assassinate Khamenei, he skillfully deflected while dropping a chilling comparison. We've already targeted their top nuclear scientists. This is essentially Hitler's nuclear team. The implications couldn't be clearer. This isn't just about national security. It's an ideological crusade fought on behalf of Western civilization. The global stakes of regional conflict. Netanyahu's warning to American audiences strikes a particularly resonant chord. Today it's Tel Aviv. Tomorrow it's New York. His message dissects the America First doctrine with surgical precision. I understand America first, but not America dead. He systematically dismantles arguments for U.S. non-intervention, particularly targeting critics like Tucker Carlson, who advocate for American neutrality. The Israeli leader's gratitude toward Trump comes with a stark warning about Iran's diplomatic overtures. They don't want a seat at the table. They want to blow up the table, he asserts, characterizing Iranian diplomacy as a calculated deception designed to buy time for weapons development. His message to skeptics remains unequivocal. This is not just our enemy, this is your enemy. The supreme leader's underground retreat. While Israel executes its strategic offensive, Khamenei's disappearance speaks volumes about the regime's vulnerability. Intelligence sources confirm his evacuation to a sophisticated underground bunker in northeastern Tehran's Lavazan district, accompanied by his entire family, including his trusted son, Mojtaba. This marks a significant escalation from previous crises, where only Mojtaba joined him in hiding. The symbolism of this retreat hasn't escaped notice. For a regime that built its foundation on projections of invincibility, seeking underground shelter represents a profound admission of weakness. Israel's recent strike on Mashhad, Khamenei's birthplace and a sacred city previously considered untouchable, delivers an unmistakable message. Nowhere is safe. A senior Middle Eastern diplomatic source reveals Israel's calculated approach. They could have eliminated Khamenei on day one, but chose restraint, offering one final opportunity to dismantle the nuclear program completely. This mirrors Trump's earlier two-month ultimatum, suggesting a coordinated international pressure campaign against Tehran's leadership. The bunker strategy, while providing physical protection, might ultimately prove the regime's greatest vulnerability. Each day, Khamenei remains hidden, chips away at the carefully constructed image of an omnipotent supreme leader, potentially accelerating the very collapse Israel seeks to achieve. The psychological warfare dimension. Israel's targeting of Mashhad represents a masterclass in psychological warfare. By striking a city over 2,300 kilometers away, previously considered beyond reach, Israel demonstrates not just military capability, but strategic intent. This isn't merely about destroying military assets. It's about shattering the Iranian leadership's sense of security and invulnerability. The message resonates through diplomatic channels. Khamenei faces a stark choice between complete nuclear disarmament or continuing down a path that threatens not just his regime's survival, but his personal safety. As pressure mounts and options dwindle, the world watches to see whether the supreme leader will emerge from his underground sanctuary to face this unprecedented challenge, or if his retreat marks the beginning of the end for Iran's theological regime. The weight of choice. Khamenei's current predicament represents more than just a tactical retreat. It embodies the culmination of decades of strategic miscalculations. The bunker, once a symbol of strength during previous crises, now serves as a stark reminder of his regime's vulnerability. Intelligence reports suggest that this underground fortress, equipped with state-of-the-art defensive systems and elaborate escape tunnels, has become both his sanctuary and his prison. Years ago, when both American and Israeli intelligence services extended unprecedented diplomatic overtures, Khamenei dismissed them with characteristic disdain. These weren't mere negotiations. They represented a rare opportunity to reshape Iran's relationship with the West. The proposals included pathways for Iran to maintain its nuclear research program under international supervision while gradually lifting sanctions. A balanced approach that could have preserved both Iran's dignity and its economic future. However, driven by ideological conviction and perhaps a miscalculation of Western resolve, Khamenei chose defiance. Now, as Israeli precision strikes systematically dismantle Iran's military infrastructure and eliminate key regime figures, that same bunker offers him a final moment of reflection. The choice before him carries historical weight. Witness firsthand the full extent of Israel's military capabilities, or maintain his current course and risk falling alongside the very power structure he spent decades constructing. This decision transcends personal survival. It represents a pivotal moment for Iran's future. Intelligence sources reveal that Israeli military planners have prepared comprehensive contingencies for either outcome. Should Khamenei emerge and signal willingness to negotiate, diplomatic channels remain open. However, continued defiance will likely trigger an escalation that could fundamentally alter the Middle Eastern political landscape. The irony isn't lost on close observers. The very man who built his legacy on never backing down from Western pressure now finds himself literally underground, forced to contemplate surrender or face potential annihilation. The bunker, designed to protect him from external threats, has become a metaphorical tomb for the ideology he championed, leaving him to wrestle with perhaps the most consequential decision of his 35-year rule. As tension mounts and options dwindle, the world watches this high-stakes game of brinkmanship reach its climax. The outcome won't just determine Khamenei's fate, it will shape the future of Iran and the broader Middle East for generations to come.